no stones will be left unturned in this dramatic change in the financial landscape. And you really have to be a fool if you neglect this or if you can't recognize the value of XRP. This is actually from the interview executed by the digital asset investor, and Crypto Airy put this out like this one. And a huge shout out to both of them for this information. And when we say the infrastructure of flow of money is fundamentally changing, how is it actually changing? We actually want to understand that, right? For that, we'll actually play a part of this one.
You can go into these customers, which Ripple's able to do, and clearly demonstrate that you can deliver a superior product in terms of speed at a much lower cost. It's a really, in some cases, easy conversation to have. Show through actual data the speed and the cost and the access that we're able to deliver in these markets. And then
so the movement of value from one hand to another, let it be to any geographical region around the globe, with this system is fast, scalable, and cheap. So the products are actually coming out like this one. A Ripple partner does this, Ripple partner achieved this, Ripple partner does that. So it happens like this. So as they expand, the competitors are left with little choice. As we slowly adapt to the new ISO standards, why I say that? Because when we actually look at this, we can actually see this. Because Ripple is the only company doing this. Back in September 2019, Ripple expanded to the Iceland and laid the pipelines. And as we can see, now we actually get expansion of a Ripple partner towards that area. So, one to another, one guy is preparing the pipelines and allowing their partners to move through it. So that actually creates a lot of value for them. Now we get this, right? So keep in mind, 40 to 50 central banks are working with Ripple. So they are not working with them to just waste their time. Now let us dig a bit more deep into this one to understand the current scenario, how it is actually evolving, where the pipelines are being laid, and what we can expect in the near future. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. When a highly experienced trader from Goldman says he does not understand the cryptocurrencies much, but he can see the potential for this particular asset's price to surge 1,500%. Wow, that is actually huge. So how much should you guys who already have the information with you, who's kind of already educated about the technicals, fundamentals of this asset, expecting the price to rise? Because if you can't recognize the potential of this asset, then all the education we have conducted here in the SI would be kind of waste. So if you actually understand this particular thing, that the price is going to surge, it's even if you are a technical guy, a fundamental guy, you can actually understand that the market cycle is kind of bottoming out, or at least moving into a new one. So as this happens, the price will actually go up high. But when we say that, keep this in mind. This is not happening tomorrow. The market cycle may actually turn. We may actually start moving to the upside and, get to great levels, huge returns. I agree that. But in order to reach the maximum potential of this asset, we actually need a clear regulatory framework, and CFTC is showing that over the few years, next 3 to 4 years, or say 4 years precisely, they are looking at establishing that. Now when they say that, keep in mind, if they are going to do that in 4 years, the investors are going to step in at least in 2 to 3 years. That's how I actually perceive that. So when we see that, keep this in mind. This is not going to happen tomorrow. If you are going to say, for example, XRP went up to $20, $40, $50, and you're taking out entire profits from it, you may not actually get to see the entire potential of the price gains of this particular asset as it moves to the upside. Because once you recognize this one, you will never leave the entire portfolio aside, because that's how this is happening. Partners are going this way, partners are going that way, because Ripple, the company, expanded to Iceland back in 2019. Now we get this information. Ripple partners moving into there, they are also expanding to the new location. Now this one, tweeted by the Ripple, being part of RippleNet has helped us surge sustainably. Now think this is from Bank of Santander. and they already use OnePayFX, which is runs on Ripple, right? So now they're actually coming out and stating this sustainable and scalable relationship with other financial institutions around the world. So one is sustainable, which they are always using. You can also connect the green into this because the electricity cost, or the energy consumption for this particular technology is negligible considered to proof of work system, which there is a lot of guys pushing that was going to be the reserve system. Think, if that is such energy consuming, how much energy would you actually need to establish that network as world reserve currency? Without the scalability, you can actually do that first, and with the consideration for the energy consumption, nothing is going to happen. And this one from JC Crypto actually shows two RippleNet members in Brazil agree to integrate with 150,000 small medium enterprises in the global trade sector. Now guys, this one is actually huge. Why? Because this really is like the SMEs, where Ripple is concentrating on the low value but high frequency payment. Majority actually, okay, not majority, some actually doesn't actually understand why Ripple is moving in that way. Now they have been moving in that way from a long time, but now they are actually pinpointing that and highlighting that. So why they are doing that? Because those who understand the potential of that particular way, the route which they are following, will actually understand this. This is just in one country. If they are actually moving this in this manner, almost every country will actually come out and use this service for low value but high frequency payments. And when we actually say this, what you have to understand is, Macarak actually showed this rightly. The former Goldman guy is actually coming in and purchasing this. And when he says that he don't understand it much, but if BTC is going up, showing good gains, then automatically it will actually lift all the boats. A rising tide lift all boats. So that is actually the reality. So it doesn't actually matter whether the project is fundamentally sound or not. It will actually go up in price. And that's the reason when I say, when you see some projects which doesn't have much of a fundamental compared to XRP rise in price, don't jump from this ship into that. If you want to buy that additional, that's a different story. But if you're jumping from this, you're making a huge mistake in my opinion, because if the fundamentals are like this and increasing, then when tide is here, it will be the best asset in terms of return on in your investment. If you look at the last cycle, you'll understand how the fundamentals actually push the price up. So with these partnerships and announcement coming, you can expect much more in terms of what's coming ahead. Because as we know, the digital currency era, or the central bank digital currency era, is here. One by one, central banks are coming out and highlighting this one. If you don't understand this now, you will have to understand what's coming ahead, because the entire infrastructure is changing. The pandemic has caused the cracks there. The central banks tried to just mortar it down, but it's not yet sealed. And we can see the fundamental change is happening even from the traditional markets. And when we say, the fundamentals and the rising tide, you have to actually understand some of the exchange tokens may actually go up high, really, because if, for example, Ripple is partnering with different exchanges all around the globe. Why? Because they are bridging the new network, right? The banks use the exchange as of now because there is no particular precise regulatory clarity for the banks to hold digital asset in their books. Now they are using exchanges who can actually do that. For them, as of now, this is the holy grail of payments. But at the same time, don't neglect this. Say, for example, crypto exchanges are being partnered with many different projects. So at the same time, who are inside that particular exchange using that. Say, for example, if you are looking at Binance, you can see Binance Coin. So like last time when we had a small altcoin run, Binance Coin actually went up huge, right? So in the same aspect, if you look at different exchanges and their tokens, you can actually understand that will also rise in price, because that the fundamental of that asset is kind of connected to the fundamental of many different assets, even those assets which doesn't actually have much of a fundamental. Why? Because when the tide goes in that way and lifts all the different assets, everyone is actually gonna come into this exchanges and buy this. And whenever they get 50, 100, 200% in profit, they're gonna sell it and wait in a stable coin or in these exchange tokens. Most of the time you can actually see that the price of these also will be going up. Now here in this one, this is an old one which we actually connected with the recent one. Algorithm team will add 6 engineers to Ripple ranks with a focus on integrating with partner crypto exchanges. Now, this one is focusing on Iceland, right? The team will work to expand Ripple's cross border payment corridor to contribute to the ongoing development of the company's on demand liquidity product. So, as we step into different exchanges, partner with them, keep this in mind. What they are doing, they're expanding the reach of on demand liquidity corridors. Now, previously, when we had XYI, Xcurrent, Xrapid, this was a different story because these guys or the financial institutions were being enrolled into different products. With on demand liquidity, it's just a flip of switch, meaning you can use the digital asset for your payment easily with this one. So that's like, for them, as I told, it's holy grail for the entire banking sector because once they have this regulatory clarity, the story is different. Banks are going to hold digital assets in their books, and that is going to be huge. Why? Because they also know that if they don't do that, world is going digital. Fidelity, Buck, and others will actually come and eat their entire breakfast, lunch, and dinner. People or the next generation will be moving fundamentally into digital assets. Their savings would be much more like, it won't be silver and gold for as we have now. Instead, fiat will never be there for sure. In that aspect, they will be moving into digital assets. Let it be the central bank digital currency, let it be XRP, BTC, Ether, whatever your favorite token is. But the change is for sure. And as they change, the banks need to survive, and as they need to survive, they have to now compete with the custody services, right? The custodians are coming out, the custody services are being established. So the banks, unless they do this or offer this to their clients, they're going to perish in a very bad way. And this from the Bank of Japan shows you like the change is here. It's not coming, it's here for some countries because they are looking at this one as whenever there is a disruption, in order to get back into that condition, you need that resilience, and that is the factor being talked about here. So before actually diving deep into this one, going through and analyzing this one, what you have to understand is when the trader here is saying that every currency is going to go up. Yes, I understand you guys may actually get a bit confused. We are, investors or traders who are looking for profit. So why not get into every different token? As others say, diversify, go into every different token, right? You have a lot of option. Looking at just fundamentals, you have a lot of options. Like as you can see the market trends here, you can see all the top 10 coins here, how they are reacting, right? So whenever you see coins like say going up, skyrocketing, if that project is with fundamental or without fundamental, profits are profits, right? But that's in the short time frame. If you are looking at a longer time frame, if you are a real investor who is actually in this for long run to gain the total profit, say total profit in the sense, say in 1 year the price actually goes up 1000x, you're going to take 10% of your portfolio, meaning you actually leave 90% of your portfolio for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Now that is the perspective or the big picture how a long-term investor or the real smart money looks at. So why I say that, because when we actually see the regulatory clarity itself is going to come and exist in next 4 years or 5 years. Now this is for the case for US, right? So as we see that worldwide, say in next 3 to 4 years, it will actually come out. The regulatory clarity will be there, and then the market will start to mature. So Ripple's target of 2025 still looks like they are on target. So if they are moving in that particular manner, then it's going to be the changes will be there, and all four are different considerations. The central banks will actually come in because they need the clarity, and once the regulatory clarity is here, cryptocurrency market will actually starts to mature. So that's why I told in next 5 to 10 years it's going to be having huge change. Say now if you have 140,000x, at that time it will be unimaginable. But yes, after this kind of rise, it would be doubtful, and there will be a lot of regulations which we have to go through. Now let's jump into this one. In order for CBDC to have cash equivalent functionality, Bank of Japan states that CBDC needs to be a payment method that can be used to settle transactions securely, reliably by anyone, anytime, anyway. So when they actually talk about that, why they talk that? The report says a CBDC must have two properties: universal access and resilience. So as I told, whenever there is a disruption, You need, to get back to that system, to get it back online. You don't need much energy if it is something based on ILP and Ripple's products, right? So if this is built on top of that universal access, you already have that. Now, when one or two major central banks are coming out like this, and we know that Ripple already works with 40 to 50 central banks, so when we get these information from them, where do they actually get these education? When we actually discussed yesterday, like Chris Larson is on the high level advisory for IMF, that's kind of, that says it all, right? In the same aspect, they actually talk with every different central banks. So when these central banks are considering, say here, in light of these considerations, Bank of Japan summarizes its position as follows. In order for the CBDC to have properties of universal access and resilience, it would be desirable to offer offline peer-to-peer payment transaction that can withstand connection and power outages using specialized terminals accessible to many different people. When we actually say that, the offline payment capability of Ripple is actually huge. We saw that they updated previously in last year June, say 65,000 plus transaction per second. So that is actually huge, considering many different networks which can be actually scalable. If you are looking at the top here, BTC, Ether, you can actually clearly understand the scalability is so limited. You will never be able to actually use that in these kind of payments. But yes, say for example, for using smart contracts, they can use Ether, but at the same time it should be having universal access. So in that aspect, for me, in my opinion, I think that they'll actually get onto a platform in which they can actually get both. They can have this payment with the scalability, offline properties and everything. At the same time, they can also use the smart contracts. So in ILP, you have the option for that. You already have the interoperability layer there. That's the ILP. And once you're in that, you can actually connect to the XRP ledger, and that directly bridges one fiat to another, and all the settlement tokens. Settlement in the sense, say for example, if you have say Amazon, they are giving you points. Now from this, after the digitization of the world, say the CBDC era, even those points would be in some kind of tokens. So when you want to actually redeem those tokens into fiat currencies of that country, you'll need a bridge asset there too. So this aspect is actually huge. Wherever there is a movement of value from one ledger to another ledger, you will need a bridge asset. That's why in our channel we say it's a global bridge asset or the universal bridge asset. So this is the fundamental for this particular currency. When we say, when in that interview Michael says this, you would be actually kind of a fool to not understand the potential of this asset. It is clear. And if you remember, we actually did a video previously in which we say don't be fooled, and we gave a lot more documents, governmental level documents, and explained its connection between them, right? So these updates actually kind of validates how we actually discuss that and our point of view. Now what we can look further. Looking ahead, Bank of Japan stated that it plans to check the feasibility of central bank digital currency from technical perspectives through such means as experimentation, collaborate with other central banks and relevant institutions, and consider introducing CBDC again. Meaning experimentation, collaboration with other central banks and relevant institutions, and consider introducing CBDC. If we look at Bank of England, they already did the pilot with Ripple, the company, right? If we look at other central banks who are already working with Ripple, this actually makes sense, because they can't just say we are working with other central banks. They also have to use relevant institutions or fintechs or something like that. They are not actually directly quoting Ripple, the company. But previously, IMF chief has actually used that on stage, Ripple or Circle, how they are doing this, the fintechs, how they are changing the landscape, right? So that actually makes the fundamental change. And this one from Gator, it's not directly related to what XRP is going to do, but it is related to the fundamental of the digital assets itself. Fed withdraws from the repo market after 10 months. It's been like a hell of a ride for the entire market, and Fed was like printing money, supporting the entire market. But now they're kind of slowing it down. Why? The liabilities, they are printing it out like they have diarrhea, and now the liability is so huge. How much is the national debt? How much is the corporate debt? They're kind of printing it everywhere and buying from every different area. So that doesn't actually go in that way, right? So trust in yourself is showing London Stock Exchange parent assigns financial barcodes for 169 cryptocurrencies. So as I told in the initial stages of this video, we are going into a new infrastructure where you are going to see either cryptos or digital assets, whichever terminology you prefer, it's okay. But banks are going to hold this. Why? Otherwise, the custodians are going to come out, exchanges like this are going to come out and take it away from them, because if everyone is actually moving into digital assets, they also will have to move. Now this is a kind of validation that digital assets or cryptocurrencies are here to stay, whether as say cryptocurrency, crypto commodity, crypto security, cryptos are here to stay. And when they make these codes, they will also have crypto commodity, crypto security, cryptocurrency. So when we have these, we have to actually see where we comes, either in commodity or in currency. We have to actually see, anyway, it's kind of not security being announced previously, so we'll have to actually see that, right? Hope you actually enjoyed the video, and if you like the content, do hit that like button. And if you are new here and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for your support. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.